Hello YouTube, in this video I'll be showing you how to get your airbox off after you have your gas tank off. I have a drill to speed up this process, otherwise it's pretty stinking slow. We'll start off with these two air hoses right here. Just back off these screws a little bit. Maybe ½ inch or whatever, just so these clips are a little come a little loose. Alright, one. And two. Now after you got these two loosened up, come back and undo 1, 2, 3, 4. See that? 5 and 6 screws on this top outer shell. Alright, now after you have all 6 of these screws undone and all loosened to the point where they're ready to come out, I think they all are, you come up here to the top and pop these tubes off. That's my bad, boys and girls. There's another one right in between these. So many little screws. Yeah, it's coming out. Alright, and then after you fiddle with it for a while, you can pop these tubes off, as you can see I've done. And I'm gonna leave the screws in it, and you'll see why later on. And then this top shell just comes right off. And with this second layer, you just kind of pull that out, and then there's the initial screen for your air filter. And now we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. These are the intake valve mabobs that go down to the carburetors right here. Then after you get your air filter off, you loosen these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 little screws. And again, I'm leaving the screws in here. I'm not taking them out one by one. And then this just comes right off. Swing. And then you're down to the very last layer of your airbox, which is also the hardest. And you're about to see why I left the screws and everything in this thing, because it makes your life easier when you're taking apart your airbox, rather than finding each place for the screw. Just leave them in there, and then you can put your air filter back on, and then take your shell. Be careful with these screws too. And put your shell back on. And that will keep, and then once you have the last layer up here off as well, with all the valves and things, you can then put that under and keep your whole airbox together with all the screws and everything ready to be put back on. Alright, now you're down to the last layer of your airbox, and this is also the trickiest layer, and I'm about to show you why. All these little screws on each one of these, there's 4 on each one, you have to undo them all. Yes, that's right, I said it, them all. And also I'm leaving these in as well, I'm not taking them out. And these valves also come out with this, because the outer lip is bigger than the hole at the base, so once you pull it off, they naturally just come with it. So I'm going to loosen all these screws and get back with you. Alright, now that you've loosened all 16 of your screws, yes, I said 16 of these little screws, there's 4 of them on each deal. You might actually, due to your personal preference, when you put this back on, I usually take these out. They're all exactly the same. so it doesn't matter which one goes where, and it's not hard to keep track of or anything. So you can take these out if you want, and that makes putting these back on way easier, because these, when you put this back on, everything's just a pain about it. You have to get each one of these on perfectly and these lined up. So if you take the screws out, it's just a little bit easier. It's one less thing you have to worry about falling out when you're trying to put this piece back on. But once all those are off, alright, and then that just lifts away, exposing the carburetors right there. Oh, also I forgot to mention on one of the layers earlier, there's this hose that goes onto it. I'll show you the port. On the second layer down, that port right there, that goes to that hose. But that hose should just pop off when you pull it off, but make sure you put that back on when you go to put this thing back together. And congratulations, you now have your airbox with all the pieces sitting together, ready to be put back in. And of course, to put it on, you just reverse the steps that I've shown you here. But again, be really careful with that bottom piece. It has to seal right, and there's a lot of different factors that come into play when you go to put those little headers back on.